The ship landed softly on the crystal platform, stepped out and looked at the palace before him. It was made of glass and light. It floated above a dying star, and the red glow made everything look like a dream. He had seen many things in his life, but nothing like this. He was 28 years old, a soldier from Earth, a human. And today, he would become a bodyguard to a princess from another world. Two tall guards walked toward him. Their skin was pale blue, their eyes were silver, and they stood almost 8 feet tall. They looked at the way someone might look at a small insect. "You are the human?" one of them asked. "Yes," said. The guard made a sound, it might have been a laugh. "Follow us." They walked through long hallways. The walls were transparent and could see stars and galaxies spinning slowly outside. Servants stopped to stare at him. Some whispered, some pointed. One young servant covered her mouth in shock as if she had never seen something so strange. Kept walking. He kept his face calm. He had learned long ago that showing emotion was a weakness in places like this. The throne room was enormous. Hundreds of nobles filled the space. They wore robes of silver and gold. Jewels floated around their heads like tiny moons, and at the center of it all sat the emperor. Emperor was old. His face showed thousands of years of life. His silver eyes looked tired but sharp. Beside him sat Queen Sara. She was beautiful in a cold way, like a statue made of ice. And standing to the right was Prince. He was young, proud, and he looked at with open disgust. "So this is the human," Prince said loudly. The whole room could hear him. "This is what my sister wants for protection, a soft-skinned pet." Some nobles laughed, others shook their heads. Said nothing, he stood straight and waited. Emperor raised his hand. The room fell silent. "Approach," the emperor said. Walked forward. Every step felt heavy. Every eye in the room was watching him. He stopped at the bottom of the stairs and bowed low. "You are from Earth," the emperor said. It was not a question. "Yes, your majesty." "Your species lives for less than 100 years. Your bodies break easily. You have no natural weapons, no armor, no venom. Tell me, human, why should I trust my daughter's life to something so fragile?" The room was completely silent. Everyone waited for his answer. "Looked up, because I will not fail her, your majesty." Prince laughed again. Words, empty words from an empty creature. "Enough." The voice came from behind the throne. A young woman stepped forward. She was smaller than the other, with gentle eyes and dark hair that flowed like water. "Princess." "Father," she said, "I chose this human. I read about his species. I read about their history. They fight wars that last generations. They survive disasters that would end other species. They do not give up, ever." Queen Sara finally spoke. Her voice was soft but cold. "You read stories, daughter. Stories are not truth." "Then let me find the truth," said. "Let him serve. If he fails, you may say you were right. But if he succeeds, perhaps we will all learn something." The emperor studied for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Very well, the human will serve as your guard. But know this, human. If any harm comes to my daughter, your death will be slow. Your pain will be legendary. Do you understand?" Bowed again. "I understand, your majesty." The ceremony ended. The nobles returned to their conversations, though many still glanced at with amusement or confusion. Prince walked past him and deliberately bumped his shoulder. "Enjoy your short life, pet," the prince whispered. Did not react. He simply turned and followed Princess out of the throne room. They walked through quieter hallways now. The princess moved gracefully, but she kept looking back at him. "You do not speak much," she said. "No, your highness." "Why?" "Words are easy to say. Actions are harder to fake." She smiled at that. It was a warm smile, genuine and kind. Realized that she was different from the others. She did not look at him like he was beneath her. "I meant what I said in there," she told him. "I have studied your people. Earth is a dangerous world, earthquakes, hurricanes, predators, diseases. Yet humans survive. They build cities, they reach for the stars. That takes something special. We are stubborn, said. She laughed softly. Perhaps that is exactly what I need. They reached her chambers. Two guards stood at the door. They were tall, strong, covered in crystal armor. They looked at with clear disappointment. This is your new partner, told them. Treat him with respect. The guards said nothing. Their silence said everything. That night stood outside the princess's door. The palace was quiet. Most of the lights had dimmed. But he did not sleep. He watched. He listened. Hours passed. His legs grew tired, but he did not move. A human body was not designed for this. It wanted rest. It wanted food, but had trained himself to ignore those wants. Near midnight, he heard footsteps. They were soft, careful. Someone was trying not to be heard. Moved silently along the corridor. He followed the sound down a staircase into the lower levels of the palace. The light here was dim. The air was cold. He saw them in an empty storage room. Lord Menu, a noble he had noticed earlier in the throne room. The Lord was speaking with three armed figures in dark clothing. The ceremony at the temple will be perfect, Lord Menu said. All the royals in one place. The guards will be focused on tradition, not threats. We strike then. One of the armed figures nodded. And the human, the princess's new pet. Lord Menu laughed. The human is nothing. He will probably die in the first shot. Humans are weak. Everyone knows this. Pressed himself against the wall. His heart beat faster, but his face remained calm. He had found something dangerous, a conspiracy, a plot against the royal family. He could report this now, but who would believe him? He was just a human, a primitive creature. They would laugh at him just as they had laughed all day. No, he needed proof. He needed to watch and wait. He returned to his post outside the princess's door. The night continued in silence, but now knew the truth. Something terrible was coming, and he was the only one who saw it. 3 days passed. Watched Lord Menu carefully, but he said nothing to anyone. He needed more information. He needed to understand the full plan before he could act. The palace prepared for a grand celebration. Emperor had ruled for 300 years, and the empire would honor him with a great banquet. Nobles from 100 worlds would attend. It would be the largest gathering in decades. Stood behind Princess as servants dressed her in ceremonial robes. The fabric was silver and blue, woven with threads that glowed softly. She looked like a star given human form. "You have not slept," she said, looking at his reflection in the mirror. "I am fine, Your Highness. Humans need sleep. I read that your kind can die without it. We can survive longer than most think." She turned to face him. Her eyes were curious, always curious. "Tell me about Earth. What is it like?" Thought for a moment. "It is smaller than most worlds. We have one sun and one moon. The sky changes color. Blue in the day, orange at sunset, black at night with thousands of stars." "The sky changes color," she seemed amazed. "Our sky is always the same, gray and purple forever. We have seasons too, times when the world is hot and times when it is cold. Snow falls in winter. White ice covers everything." "Snow," she repeated the word like it was magic. "I have seen pictures but never real snow. Perhaps someday you will visit Earth." She smiled sadly. "My father would never allow it. He thinks humans are too primitive. He thinks your world is dangerous." "It is dangerous," admitted, "but that is why we are strong." That evening the banquet began. The great hall was filled with thousands of guests. Aliens of every shape and size filled the tables. Some had scales, some had wings, some floated in the air. They moved among them like silver ghosts, proud and elegant. Stood behind Princess' chair. The other royal guards stood at the walls, tall and impressive in their crystal armor. They looked like warriors, looked like a servant. Many guests stared at him. Some pointed and whispered. "Is that a human?" a large creature with 4 arms asked. "I thought they were extinct." "Not extinct," another replied, "just irrelevant." They laughed, kept his eyes forward. Prince sat at the royal table, drinking wine and enjoying the attention. He noticed the guests looking at and smiled. "My sister's pet is popular tonight," he said loudly. "Perhaps we should put him in a cage so everyone can see him better." Some nobles laughed. Princess did not. "Brother," she said quietly, "he is my guard, show some respect." "Respect," leaned back in his chair. "Respect is earned, sister. What has this human earned? He cannot fight like our warriors. He cannot think like our scholars. He cannot live like our people. In 200 years he will be dust and we will still be here." Felt the words cut deep, but he did not react. He had heard worse things in his life. He had survived worse things. The banquet continued. Music played, dancers performed. The emperor gave a speech about the glory of the empire. Everyone cheered. But watched Lord Menu. The noble sat at a far table talking quietly with others. Sometimes he would leave the hall for several minutes, then return. His eyes moved constantly, watching the royal family. After midnight, the banquet ended. Guests returned to their ships or their assigned rooms. Princess retired to her chambers and took his position outside her door. He waited for hours. The palace grew silent. Then soft footsteps approached. His hand moved to his weapon, but he relaxed when he saw who it was. Advisor. She was an older woman with kind eyes and gray streaks in her dark hair. "You do not sleep," she said. "Neither do you." She smiled slightly. "I have lived for 600 years. Sleep becomes less necessary with time." She moved closer, lowering her voice. "I have watched you, human. You notice things that others miss." Said nothing. "You watch Lord Menu," she continued. "You suspect him of something." Still remained silent. He did not know if he could trust her. Sighed. "I understand your caution. Humans have learned not to trust easily. Your history is full of betrayal and war." She reached into her robe and pulled out a small device. "This contains classified information. In the past year, 3 royal families across the galaxy have been assassinated. Different methods, different killers, but the same pattern. Someone is targeting rulers." Finally spoke. "And you think they will target the next?" "I think they already have. The ceremony at the Temple of Stars is in 4 days. The entire royal family will be there. It would be the perfect moment to strike." "Have you told the emperor?" "I have tried. He does not believe there is danger. They have ruled for 10,000 years. He cannot imagine anyone daring to attack them." Shook her head. "Pride blinds even the—" Thought about what he had seen in the storage room. Lord Menu's words echoed in his mind. The ceremony at the temple will be perfect. "I saw something," he said finally. "Lord Menu meeting with armed figures. They spoke of striking during the temple ceremony." His eyes widened. "You have proof?" "Only my word, and who would believe a human?" She was silent for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. "I believe you, but you are right. Your word alone is not enough. The nobles would laugh. The emperor would dismiss it." "Then what do we do?" "We watch, we prepare, and when the moment comes, we act." She placed a hand on his shoulder. "I have studied humans, young. I know what your species can do. You are not weak. You are different, and sometimes different is exactly what is needed." She walked away into the darkness, leaving alone with his thoughts. The next morning, Prince found in the corridor. The prince was alone this time, without his usual crowd of followers. His face was serious. "Human," he said, "we need to talk." Waited. "I do not like you," said bluntly. "I think my sister made a mistake choosing you, but she is still my sister. If anything happens to her, if she is hurt because you failed, I will personally end your life." Slowly, painfully. "Do you understand?" "I understand, Your Highness." Stepped closer. "I hope you do, because the temple ceremony is important, very important. Every camera in the Empire will be watching. If something goes wrong, it will be your fault. Not the guards, not the security, you, the human who should never have been here." He walked away without another word. Stood alone in the corridor. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him. He was one human against a conspiracy, one small, fragile creature trying to protect people who did not believe in him. But he had made a promise, and humans did not break their promises. 4 days until the ceremony. 4 days to find proof. 4 days to stop a disaster. Returned to his duties, he watched, he listened, he prepared. The clock was ticking. The Temple of Stars floated above them like a jewel in the sky. It was ancient, built 10,000 years ago when the Empire was young. Its walls were made of black stone that absorbed light, and its towers reached toward the heavens like fingers trying to touch the stars. Looked out the window of the royal transport ship. Below, he could see the planet's surface. Cities stretched for thousands of miles. Lights twinkled like fallen stars. Billions of lived down there, and today all of them would be watching. "You seem nervous," Princess said. Turned to her. "I am not nervous, Your Highness, I am alert." "Is there a difference?" Nervous people make mistakes. Alert people see danger before it arrives. She smiled softly. "You speak like a warrior." "I was a soldier. On Earth, we train for situations like this." The ship docked at the temple's landing platform. The royal family emerged in order of importance. Emperor first, tall and commanding. Queen Sara beside him, cold and beautiful. Prince next, proud in his ceremonial armor. And finally Princess, with walking 2 steps behind her. Thousands of cameras floated in the air, capturing every moment. The broadcast would reach every corner of the galaxy. Billions of beings would watch Princess receive her blessing. The temple's interior was breathtaking. Columns of pure starlight rose from the floor to the ceiling. Ancient symbols glowed on the walls. The air itself seemed to hum with power. Guards lined the walkways. They stood perfectly still, like statues carved from silver. Their armor gleamed. Their weapons were ceremonial but deadly. Studied everything: the exits, the shadows, the high balconies where spectators gathered. His eyes moved constantly, searching for anything wrong. Something felt off. He could not explain it, but his instincts screamed at him. Years of combat had taught him to trust those instincts. He moved closer to Princess. "Your Highness, I need you to stay close to me." She looked at him with surprise. "Is something wrong?" "I do not know yet, but please stay close." Prince overheard them. He frowned. "What is this? Are you trying to scare my sister human?" "I am trying to protect her, Your Highness." "There are 50 guards in this temple, the best warriors in the Empire. What could you possibly do that they cannot?" Did not answer. He simply positioned himself between and the crowd. The ceremony began. Emperor walked to the central platform, where an ancient altar stood beneath a beam of pure starlight. He raised his hands, and the temple fell silent. "Today we gather to honor my daughter," his voice echoed through the chamber. "Today she receives the blessing of our ancestors. Today she becomes a true daughter of the stars." The crowd cheered. Cameras zoomed in. Princess walked forward, her robes flowing like liquid silver. She knelt before the altar and bowed her head. The emperor began speaking ancient words, words that had been spoken for 10,000 years, words of power and tradition. His eyes kept moving, left, right, up, down. There, on the upper balcony, a figure in dark clothing, moving slowly, trying not to be noticed. His heart beat faster. He looked at the figure's hands. They were holding something, something long and thin. A weapon. Everything happened in a single heartbeat. The figure raised the weapon, a plasma lance. It glowed with deadly green light. It was aimed directly at Princess. Did not think, he did not calculate. His body moved on pure instinct. He ran. He threw himself in front of the Princess. The plasma lance fired. The bolt hit directly in the chest. The impact was like being struck by lightning and fire at the same time. Pain exploded through his entire body. He felt his skin burn. He felt his bones crack. He felt his heart stutter. He fell. The sound of his body hitting the sacred floor echoed through the silent temple. For a moment, no one moved. No one breathed. The galaxy watched through billions of screens as the human collapsed in a pool of his own blood. Then Princess screamed. "No!" She dropped to her knees beside him. Her hands pressed against his chest, trying to stop the bleeding. Red blood, human blood, spread across the black stone floor. It looked like a flower blooming in darkness. Guards rushed toward the balcony. The assassin tried to flee but was quickly captured. Other guards surrounded the royal family, weapons drawn, searching for more threats. Emperor stood frozen. He had never seen so much blood. He had never seen death come so close. Prince stared at the fallen human. His face was pale, his hands were shaking. Queen Sora watched without expression, but something flickered in her silver eyes. Something that might have been surprise. "He is dead," one of the guards said, looking at his body. "No creature survives a plasma lance. His sacrifice was brave but pointless." Princess shook her head, tears streamed down her face. "No, no, he cannot be dead. He promised to protect me. He promised." The Emperor stepped forward. His face was grim. "Remove the body. We will honor his sacrifice, but we cannot let this disrupt the ceremony." He reached down to close his eyes. And then his eyes opened. The Emperor stumbled backward. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Cameras zoomed in, capturing every detail. Was alive. His chest was a ruin of burned flesh and blood. His breathing was shallow and wet. Every heartbeat sent agony through his body, but he was alive. He tried to speak. Blood came out instead of words. He coughed, struggled, and tried again. "The princess," he whispered, "is she safe?" No one answered. They were too shocked to speak. Pushed himself up. His arms trembled, his vision blurred. The pain was beyond anything he had ever felt, but he forced his body to obey. He sat up. Then he stood. He stood on broken legs with a burned chest, with blood pouring from wounds that should have killed him instantly. He stood because he had made a promise. He stood because that is what humans do. Princess stared at him with wide, disbelieving eyes. How are you alive?" Tried to smile, but it came out as a grimace. Humans are stubborn. Then he collapsed again. This time, guards caught him before he hit the ground. They lifted him carefully, as if he were made of glass. "Get him to the medical wing," Emperor commanded. "Now, save him if you can." The guards rushed out with his body. Princess tried to follow, but her mother held her back. "The ceremony must continue," Queen Sora said. "I do not care about the ceremony. He saved my life. And the best way to honor that is to complete what he protected you for." The princess looked at her mother. Then she looked at the blood on the floor. Human blood, red and warm and real. She straightened her robes. She wiped her tears. She walked back to the altar. The ceremony continued. But nothing was the same. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched in stunned silence. They had seen a human take a killing blow. They had seen him fall. They had seen him die. And then they had seen him open his eyes. No one would ever look at humans the same way again. The medical wing was chaos. Doctors surrounded the operating table, their hands moving quickly over instruments that glowed with healing light. Screens displayed information in alien languages. Machines beeped and hummed. In the center of it all lay, his body was broken. His chest was burned black. His heart was barely beating. "This is impossible," the lead doctor said. "The plasma lance should have destroyed his internal organs. It should have boiled his blood. He should not be alive." "But he is alive," another doctor replied. "Look at these readings. His cells are regenerating, slowly, but they are healing themselves. No species can heal from this, not without advanced medical technology. Humans can, apparently. Princess stood outside the operating room, watching through the transparent wall. Her ceremonial robes were stained with blood. She had refused to change. She had refused to leave. Advisor stood beside her. The older woman's face was calm, but her eyes showed deep concern. "He will live," said quietly. "Humans are remarkable creatures." "How do you know?" "I have studied them for centuries. Their biology is unique in the galaxy." She pulled out a data pad and began reading. "Humans evolved on a planet called Earth. It is classified as a Category 7 death world." Looked at her. Category 7, that is the highest danger rating. "Yes, Earth has extreme temperature changes, violent storms, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and thousands of predators. Every day on Earth is a fight for survival. The weak die quickly. The strong adapt." And humans adapted. "In extraordinary ways," showed her the data pad. "Their bodies can repair damage that would kill other species. Their blood clots to stop bleeding. Their bones can mend themselves. Their skin grows back after burns. Given enough time, a human can recover from almost anything." Inside the operating room, the doctors discovered something amazing. His body was already working to heal itself. White blood cells flooded the wound sites. New tissue began forming over burned areas. His heart, though damaged, beat stronger with each passing minute. "I have never seen anything like this," the lead doctor whispered. Emperor arrived at the medical wing. His face was troubled. He had seen many things in his 300 years, but nothing like what happened in the temple. "Reports," he commanded. The doctors bowed quickly. "Your Majesty, the human is stabilizing. His body is healing itself. We are assisting the process, but honestly, he is doing most of the work himself." "That is impossible. A plasma lance kills instantly. No one survives a direct hit." "He did, Your Majesty, and he is continuing to survive." The Emperor moved to the observation window. He looked at its broken body, at the machines monitoring his life signs, at the slow but steady progress of healing. "How?" he asked. Advisor stepped forward. "May I explain, Your Majesty?" He nodded. "Humans possess several biological traits that make them remarkably resilient. First, they have a chemical called adrenaline. In moments of danger, this chemical floods their system. It blocks pain. It increases strength. It allows them to perform actions that should be physically impossible." "A chemical that blocks pain?" "Yes. When jumped in front of the princess, his body released massive amounts of adrenaline. He felt the impact, but the pain did not stop him. It could not stop him. His mind refused to accept death." Prince arrived next. He looked pale and shaken. The arrogance was gone from his face. Continued her explanation. "Second, human cells are extraordinarily adaptable. They can regenerate, repair, and replace damaged tissue. Their immune system fights infection with incredible aggression. Their bodies treat every wound as a battle to be won." "But the plasma lance destroyed his chest," said. "His organs should be gone." "Some are damaged beyond repair, but others survived. And the human body is already working to compensate. His heart is adapting. His lungs are adapting. His blood is creating new pathways." Queen Sora arrived silently. She stood in the back, listening without speaking. "There is one more thing," said. "Perhaps the most important thing. Humans have something that most species lack. They call it willpower, the refusal to give up, the determination to survive against all odds." "That is not biology," the Emperor said. "That is just words." "With respect, Your Majesty, it is more than words. Human history is filled with examples. Soldiers who fought with fatal wounds. Mothers who lifted impossible weights to save their children. Explorers who survived months in frozen wastelands. When a human decides to live, their body follows that decision. Mind and body work together in ways we do not fully understand. Hours passed, remained unconscious, but his condition improved steadily. The doctors watched in amazement as wounds closed, burns healed, and vital signs strengthened. Princess never left the observation window. Near midnight, his eyes opened. He looked around, confused. The lights were too bright. The sounds were too loud. Everything hurt. Was beside him immediately. The doctors had allowed her inside once he stabilized. "You are awake," she said. Her voice trembled with relief. "What happened?" His voice was rough, damaged. "You saved my life. The assassin's shot should have killed me, but you moved faster. You took the blast." Memory returned slowly. The temple, the plasma lance, the pain, the fall. "I remember," he said. "You should be dead. The doctors cannot explain how you survived." Tried to laugh, but it hurt too much. "Humans are hard to kill, Your Highness. We had to be to survive our world." Tears fell from his eyes. "You almost died for me, a princess you barely know, from a family that treated you with contempt. Why?" Was quiet for a moment, then he spoke. "On Earth we have a saying, a soldier does not fight for flags or crowns. A soldier fights for the person standing next to them, for the people they swore to protect." He looked at her. "I swore to protect you, Your Highness. My life, my death, they are mine to give, and I gave them willingly." Took his hand. His skin was warm, human warm, so fragile compared to, so easily damaged, yet so incredibly strong. "Thank you," she whispered. Closed his eyes. "Just doing my job, Your Highness." Outside the medical wing, news spread across the empire. The human who refused to die. The primitive creature who saved the princess. Videos from the temple played on every screen, showing the moment jumped in front of the blast, the moment he fell, and the impossible moment when he opened his eyes. Other species began talking. On distant worlds, people asked questions. Who are these humans? What else can they do? What happens when creatures that stubborn, that resilient, that determined decide to fight? For the first time in galactic history, the small, fragile species from Earth had captured everyone's attention. And everything was about to change. Lord Minu sat in a dark cell beneath the imperial palace. His fine robes were torn. His proud face was bruised. The interrogators had not been gentle. Emperor stood on the other side of the energy barrier, watching the traitor with cold silver eyes. "You have 20 seconds to explain yourself," the Emperor said. "After that, the pain begins." Minu laughed bitterly. "Pain? Do you think I fear pain? I was prepared to die for this cause." "What cause?" "The cleansing, the renewal. Your empire has grown weak, fat and lazy after 10,000 years of peace. You do not deserve to rule anymore." The Emperor's face did not change. "Who else is involved?" "Does it matter? Even if you stop us here, others will continue. On a dozen worlds, noble houses are ready to rise. Old rulers will fall. New powers will emerge." "Names, I want names." Minu smiled. "Very well, why not? They will kill me for talking anyway." He began listing names. Noble families, military commanders, trade guild leaders. The conspiracy was deeper and wider than anyone had imagined. Emperor listened in growing horror. These were people he had trusted, people who had attended his banquets, shared his table, sworn loyalty to his throne. "Why now?" he asked. "Why after all these centuries?" "Because you have become weak. You bring primitives into your palace. Humans of all things. Soft, fragile creatures that live for less than a single century. You treat them as equals. It is disgusting." The Emperor thought about the human who took a plasma bolt to the chest and refused to die. "That human saved my daughter's life. An accident, a lucky shot that missed the killing organs, nothing more." "Is that what you truly believe?" Minu's confidence wavered slightly. He had seen the videos like everyone else. He had watched the human stand up with a hole in his chest, but admitting that would mean admitting he was wrong. Humans are inferior, he insisted. Everyone knows this. The Emperor turned and walked away. Continue the interrogation, he told the guards. Get every name, every plan, every contact. Minu's screams followed him down the corridor. In the medical wing was recovering faster than anyone expected. The burns on his chest had faded to scars. His breathing was strong. He could sit up, walk short distances, even eat solid food. Princess visited him every day. She brought him books about Earth, pictures of oceans and mountains and forests. They talked for hours about their different worlds. Your planet sounds beautiful, she said one afternoon. Dangerous but beautiful. It is both, that is what makes it special. Looked out the window at the stars. I miss it sometimes, the smell of rain, the sound of birds, the feeling of grass under my feet. Will you go back someday? I do not know. I made a promise to protect you. That promise is not finished. Looked at her hands. You have already done more than anyone could ask. You nearly died. You have the right to leave. Do you want me to leave? She met his eyes. No, I want you to stay. Something passed between them. Something unspoken but powerful. A connection that crossed species and cultures and all the vastness of space. The door opened. Prince entered. Tried to stand, but waved him back down. Do not hurt yourself further, human. The prince's voice was different, softer. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something that might have been shame. Your Highness said. Stood awkwardly for a moment. He was not used to apologizing. He was not sure how to begin. I was wrong, he finally said. About you, about your species. I thought humans were weak because you die easily. I did not understand that dying easily does not mean you give up easily. Waited. You saw the conspiracy when our guards did not. You tried to warn us and we ignored you. You saved my sister when I could not. His voice cracked slightly. You did what I should have done, what any real protector should have done. You did not know there was danger, Your Highness. That is no excuse. I was too busy mocking you to pay attention. I was too proud to listen. He bowed his head. I am sorry for everything I said, for everything I did. Stared at her brother. In 200 years of life, she had never seen him apologize to anyone. I accept your apology, Your Highness, said simply. Nodded stiffly. Then surprisingly he extended his hand, a human gesture. He had researched it. Took the hand and shook it. The prince's grip was strong but careful, afraid of hurting the wounded human. Thank you, said, for saving her. He left quickly, embarrassed by his own emotions. Smiled. I have never seen him like that. People can change. Can they? After centuries of believing something, can they really see things differently? Thought about it. On Earth we have a saying, it is never too late to learn. Age is not wisdom. Experience is not truth. Every day we can choose to be different, better. That choice is what makes us human. Over the next few days, the Empire changed. News spread beyond the worlds. The human who refused to die became a symbol. Other species began talking about humanity differently. Trade delegations arrived at Earth's Galactic Council office. Military alliances were proposed. Scientific exchanges were requested. For the first time, humans were seen as potential partners, not primitive curiosities. Advisor visited with updates. Your actions have changed galactic politics, she said. Ambassadors from 40 worlds have requested human advisors. Military commanders want to study human combat training. Medical researchers want to understand human regeneration. I just did my job, said. You did more than that. You showed the galaxy what humanity is capable of, not through words or technology, but through sacrifice, through courage, through sheer refusal to die. Humans have been doing that for thousands of years. We just never had an audience before. Smiled, well, now you do, and the universe is watching. That evening a message arrived for Emperor wished to see him in the throne room. Tomorrow morning, full imperial assembly. Princess looked worried when she heard the news. "What do you think it means?" she asked. "I do not know. Perhaps he wants to thank me. Perhaps he wants to punish me for causing a scene in the temple. With emperors, you can never be sure. He would not punish you, not after what you did. Your Highness, I have learned that powerful people do not always do what makes sense. They do what protects their power." Stood up carefully. His body was still healing, but he was strong enough to walk now. "Whatever happens tomorrow, I want you to know something." "What?" "These past weeks have been the most meaningful of my life. Protecting you, talking with you, learning about your world, it has been an honor." Moved closer. Her silver eyes shimmered with emotion. "For me as well. I have lived for 200 years and I have never met anyone like you, anyone who made me feel so safe, so understood." She reached out and touched his face. Her fingers were cool against his warm human skin. "Whatever happens tomorrow," she said, "I will be by your side." Covered her hand with his own. "Then I am not afraid." They stood together in the fading light, two beings from different worlds, connected by something stronger than blood or species or time. Tomorrow would bring its challenges, but tonight they had each other. And that was enough.